want to cross over there to the conference center to get an idea of what's being said.
Not make Nana Dankwa the president of this republic. We will resist oppressors. We will resist oppressors. So in the Techiman South, they just use guns to shoot and to scare away our agents. Our agents have not signed, but at least even that one, the EC itself has confirmed that they are not aware of anything. Neither are we aware of any changes, nor we will accept any changes in Techiman South. We know we have won. You can go through the pink sheet, polling station by polling station. It's an NDC won seat. In Upper Denchira West, which they are also contested, and for the media again, we are sending a clear warning to the military, the Ghana Armed Forces, that they are to the state and the Republic of Ghana, and not to elected officials. If they intimidate us further, we will respond appropriately. Citizens too, we have power. They cannot intimidate us continuously with their guns as they did in Techiman. Even in Savuluku, when they noticed that they desperately needed some 1 or 2, 3 more seats to form a majority, to deny the NDC the majority, they started shooting at the Savuluku police station. They stood their grounds and asked Idris Umumbenkwan to stay in if it meant even dying with the last bullet, so that the evidence showed. When it was counted, the NDC won. And they killed one person in Savuluku, Techiman 2. Needless bloodshed in the name of somebody wanting to, by force, consolidate his hold on political power. Unacceptable and shameful behavior of the Commander-in-Chief of the Ghana Armed Forces. In Upper Denchira West, even after coalition and reconciliation, it is still the NDC which won. They have threatened the electoral officer and saying that they will eliminate and kill him if he so declares the results in favor of the NDC. In Upper Denchira West, we are saying results so collated in the pink sheet. And ladies and gentlemen of the press, let me put up this matter very strongly. Coalition centers are centers for aggregation of votes from polling stations. They are not to be used for purposes of recounting by the provisions of CI1. Coalition centers are necessarily and primarily for aggregation of results from the various polling stations. Like you take Tamale South, you take each polling station and then you know and authenticate the results. So coalition center, as they are using the military to compel a recount itself, is legally untenable. It is not legally permissible to do recount compulsorily, using the military to intimidate electoral officers to do recount. Our laws does not recognize that, and swapping the outcome. Coalition centers, I repeat, are for aggregation of polling center results. Recount can only be done at the polling station, and probably in law by an order of the court if so demanded. So take note. Apart from Upper Denchira West, we're simply saying that allow the returning officer to function. In Sydney West, one polling station, the NPP tax took away a ballot box to deny the NDC its victory in Sydney West. Whilst voting was still ongoing, when they took the ballot box, only the EC and the NDC seals were intact. What happened to the NPP? After retrieving it, what happened? They retrieved it. So it should tell you, now their modus operandi is to use the security and the military to intimidate and shoot. Guns don't install a president. Guns don't. And we will not be intimidated. In that constituency, Excellency John Mahama won the election. In many areas, they are trying to re-win using military brute force, 5 constituencies to an HS as the majority party. We are saying that let the pink sheet speak. Let the pink sheet speak. A polling station and its aggregation accordingly done at coalition centers. Coalition centers are not centers primarily for recount of votes. The military must stay away and desist away from the use of guns to scare away our NDC supporters. In the Eastern region, for instance, the Electoral Commission Office faxed a different result to the Regional Coalition Center, which was only signed by the new Patriotic Party agent. How can that happen if the EC is not becoming an extension of the new Patriotic Party? After the original was declared, we have videos of the declaration of the results in the Eastern region, constituency by constituency. They found it unacceptable because they must work out their mathematics. Now, distinguished ladies and gentlemen of the press, let me now come to this important document. Yes, we know that the chairperson of the Electoral Commission is the returning officer for the presidential elections. I'll take you through Form 9 of CI 127. It provides, and I read, Presidential Elections Coalition Form, name of constituency and district, polling station code. So we expect that the chairperson of the Electoral Commission, in declaring the presidential results, will provide details of the over 33,000 polling stations and their votes and their respective votes received by Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Nana Addo Dankwa, well collated, which aggregation must give us the outcome of a presidential win. We will not accept anything other than what is provided for in law under CI 127. So presidential election results coalition form, polling station code. So it means every police station details must be provided. I again lead you to Form 11. It's here, Form 11. You also see she is to work in accord with law. Presidential Regional Resource Coalition Form, name of constituency. So we expect that for each region, for instance, if you take Northern region, you say Tamale South, Kumbungu, Savurugu. We want every single detail of the presidential performance of Excellency John Dramani Mahama and Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, and an aggregation of it. We do not want anybody to come and say that somebody has won the election by 5 or 6 million. When we cannot explain or understand what accounts for the aggregation and cumulative figure of 5 or 6 million. We want Form 11 to be respected, and we want Form 12 is my additional evidence in law that must be provided. So I want to thank you, Miles. And then Sefiwe Asu is one of the 5. So you see a desperate government which is refusing to die. Then the government said that when you want to kill a snake, kill it in the head. You kill it in their head with a parliamentary seat of 140 and parliamentary majority to trigger our performance as the presidential election. So chairperson of Electoral Commission to respect the letter and spirit of the laws of Ghana. And again, the 5th constituency is Sefiwe Asu that they are desperately trying to overturn. They are compelling and forcing our party agents, again, using the military. We demand professionalism from the Ghana military and the Ghana police service. They should not allow themselves to be used for purposes of intimidation. Sooner than later, we'll be there. And Excellency John Mahama will assume office as Commander-in-Chief. We'll weed out those miscreants and unprofessionals who are misconducting themselves. We are capturing some of them on video and let them be assured. No gun will install a president in this republic. And we have alerted our supporters across the country. We will respect the sovereign will of the Ghanaian people and the legitimacy of their tongues, not the threat of a gun or a weapon by any policeman or any soldier. We refuse to be intimidated. You see them outside there, tell them if they want, they should point their guns to me. I'm not a coward, and we are not cowards. Let them do it. We will not succumb or yield to those pressures. So, ladies and gentlemen of the media, demand from the chairperson of the Electoral Commission respect to CI 127 and how presidential results and these outcomes are declared and collated, consistent with constituency and polling station results and aggregation. Demand that there is no recount per our laws at coalition centers. coalition centers are centers for aggregation of resource. Parliamentary resource we know because we have agents who aggregate polling station performance and feed us in. We know we have a majority of 140. God bless. My senior colleague will address you on the security issues. No. I have nothing to add.
Right, so that's a press conference a while ago. Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu addressing journalists at the Accra International Conference Center here across the Parliament House. You heard him. He said quite a lot of things, technically saying that he will the party will resist any attempt to change the outcomes of the Techiman South polls.
They contested only Techiman South. That is what they were seeking to reduce. We have 146 confirmed. Were they trying to steal Techiman South away from us to reduce it to the 139?
You made some concerns known about Tapa. You particularly mentioned Tapa.
I have no comment further, please.
You mentioned Tapa. You said that once central region.
No, I never said central region.
Central region.
I never. You are misquoting me, so I don't even grant you an interview. If you close your
ears, that's fine. The NDC.
I never even in my address mentioned central region. I mentioned only my friend. I did a press conference, hold me to our word.
Very well.
You are lying.
I was referring to the NDC.
You are lying.
I was just a question about Tapa. Can we just have a brief on Tapa?
Right, so that's our reporters, Thomas Adute Papo and Roland Walker, trying to extract some further clarity from Haruna Idrisu, who just a while ago addressed journalists at the Accra International Conference Center over several allegations, including his claims that the party will resist any attempt to change the outcome of Techiman South. This is still your election command center, and as you saw there a while ago was the press briefing from Haruna Idrisu at the Accra International Conference Center. Let's quickly go back to the venue. Our man Roland Walker is standing by. Roland, we saw you making attempts to get further clarity from the minority leader over some of the things he said. Quickly run us through what just transpired a while ago.
Now, comprehensively, you find that this election is being guided by the amended LI 127, or CI 127, the Constitutional Instrument 127. Before then, we had 126. But comprehensively, the concerns had been raised by the NDC from the strong room, where I had also been the last 16 hours, I have to say, about the reconciliation of the figures that were represented on the sheets coming from the region, that also with the numbers that they had collected. It's easy for the party or all the political parties to collate results and do the reconciliation at their headquarters as they collect the results from the polling stations. And by that aggregation, they collect those polling station results, collect all the others within one constituency, and then they make the determination themselves based on what they've collected, whether there are errors or not, but not with big margins, who has won the election. And that is triggering some of these concerns that the minority leader is raising. Particularly, he also raises issues with consistent calls for a recount that happened when the election ended in the Tapan Swayam constituency, because the NDC, the MPP's candidate won only after a fifth recount. The first count was done. There was a call for a recount the second time, the third time, the fourth one, and it's the fifth one that the incumbent member of parliament and the parliamentary candidate for the MPP, George Brekuduka, was then declared the winner. And that raised some concerns among the rank and file of the NDC in Tapa. Bear in mind, they also had raised issues, if you speak to them, that there was an independent candidate who emerged from the stables of the ruling MPP, and they thought that if you look at the tallying of the figures until the fifth count, it didn't make meaning to them. But that's some of the cases that they raised. I tried to seek some clarification as to how they reconcile what were on the sheets in the strong room with what they were picking on the ground. And they said that they had the videos, they also had evidence on the ground indicating that armed police, but particularly military personnel and people, were being used to intimidate their party representatives at the collation centers to go back on their decision to allow them to have constant recounts, which they thought subverted the will of the voters at the end of the day. There's a particular issue that they raised about consistently efforts by the Electoral Commission not to adequately recognize what the initial results were, but also allowing for some of these recounts to be undertaken at where we have the collation centers. Now, if the voting is done at the polling station, you have all the opportunity to raise in law, also guided by the provisions of the CI 127, which is guiding, or which guided the 2020 general elections, to ask for some of those recounts at the polling station. What is happening currently is that it looks like the recounts also were done at the collation, the final centers at the regional level or the constituency level, and that's a concern that they raised over the period.
Right.